Hey guys, Dan here with Battlefield Curator. There's a lot of things going on in the world today. You've got the war in Ukraine, and now you've got the war in Israel. It's been going for a few weeks, so there's a lot of tensions in other countries now, especially the Middle East, like Iran and Syria, and there's just so much going on. So how does that affect you as a military surplus collector or just in general? Let's go over some things real quick. One of the main things that people think about is the Middle East and oil, right? So you might have gas prices that go up, you might have oil prices that go up, commodity prices in general, gold, silver, those things can go up due to war. And there's those two fronts happening. Also, something that we don't really think about is like taxes. You know, like, hey, these wars are getting backed by the US, and a lot of us live in the US and pay taxes in the US. So you also have to consider those things as well. All right, so next thing you really got to think about is ammo prices. So we might see some 5.56 go up in price. Might see 5.56 manufacturers start manufacturing solely for NATO countries. There might be some shortages here and there. Kind of like when the Russia-Ukraine war kind of kicked off. You saw that 7.62x39 was kind of harder to find here or there. You also noticed that Century Arms wasn't producing a lot of commercial AKs. They weren't really shipping a lot of those like specialty pieces over here to the States because a lot of their manufacturing was focused on manufacturing for war effort. Not Century Arms particular, but Romania. Which is where Century Arms gets a lot of their AKs from. So if you look at Israel, what manufacturer in Israel makes weapons? The Israeli weapons industry, right? IWI. So maybe we won't see as many IWI Tavors or IWI Galils in here in the US because maybe they're manufacturing them for their people or for their military. Another thing is military surplus. So right now in the States, I've seen a lot of Galil old military surplus Galils and Galil parts kits, and I've also seen some M16A1s that came from Israel as well. So if Israel needs to arm their citizens again, which is what they're doing, does that mean that those parts kits probably won't come to the U.S.? Yeah, it could mean that, and they might be pulling out a lot of those from their old stash of supply because the war could escalate. I mean, we haven't seen the invasion yet. Apparently, Israel wants to invade Gaza, and we haven't seen that yet. So we don't know what other countries are going to do, how it's going to impact Israel and the Israeli citizens. So pretty much with this is you might not see a lot of military surplus coming out of Israel anymore. You might not see as many Israeli weapons being manufactured and sold here to the U.S. or imported here. And you might see price fluctuations in 5.56 or limited manufacturing of 5.56. All right, how else is this going to impact you? Well, I mean, you've seen the news. It's a lot of stuff's getting blasted out there. There's a lot of protests from either sides. And so the media could play a part in really just stressing you out and getting on your nerves, right? And getting tensions high around the world. So it might be important to calm down and just make sure that you have a plan for you and your family, whether it be bug out plan or some kind of economical readiness plan, financial plan. If for some reason something happens here in the States, which if this war really, really escalated, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, you got to think the few times that the U.S. did get attacked from outside, historically, how that impacted folks living here in the States. And you also have to take into consideration socio-political problems that we have here and around the world. You're going to have either side kind of, there's going to be people that take sides, and there's going to be hatred, and you have to be aware of those things. That when tensions rise, it tends to split people apart and take sides, and so you just have to be cognizant of the fact that hey, your neighbor might not be your best friend anymore. So with a lot of that being said, there are a lot of people that are getting back into prepping. They're checking what meals, MREs, what left food, canned goods. They're going through their bug out bags. They're buying ammo. They're buying guns. Really not as much as the pandemic, but there are people that are considering, hey, what happens if this scenario happens? What if this scenario happens? So could be an issue later on the line, and some of those people that are a little bit smarter and live through a little bit more might be prepping right now, or at least checking the status on their stuff. So as far as like military surplus goes, I really, when I go to the shops, I've seen a lot of stuff just sit on the shelves. I mean, I've seen like Mosins sit on the shelves for quite some time. So it kind of leads me to believe that as far as a military surplus collector goes, liquidity of money probably isn't out there. A lot of people probably saving or just don't want to spend the money right now for certain military surplus collectibles. It's not really on everybody's mind right now. There's a lot of other things going on, and people aren't really looking too much at the military surplus rifles as much as they used to. It is not. I think enthusiasm has definitely gone down. And so you see some of these sitting on the shelves, and you pretty much have to say to yourself, okay, so there's not a lot of people selling right now, but if something happened and people needed to like liquidate stuff, or you might see a lot of selling. And a lot of those rifles are really outdated, so you're probably not going to see people really buying those up for preparedness, and they're heavy and they're bulky. So most people probably just go and buy an AR-15. You could probably go to Palmetto State Armory or something and get a cheap AR for hunting or survival purposes of some sort. There's some of those things that people out there just wouldn't consider using in a survival situation compared to modern technology. And if you really like this kind of information and this content and my perspective, make sure you pulverize that like button and subscribe if you haven't. And also be sure to check out some of the merchandise I got and help support the channel, help support history and help curate history. So yeah, you guys go to the website, buy a shirt, buy a hoodie. Not only does it help me and help the channel here, but I also take some of those funds and I go to historical sites, museums. I'll donate, I'll make a video about it. So check that link out in the description and get yourself a hoodie or a shirt. So yeah, I've seen a lot of cheaper military surplus. I've seen a $300 Mosins again, which is great. Honestly, if it's not on people's mind though, they're going to sit, and that's what I've seen. I've seen them sit for a while. So we might be back to pre-pandemic levels, probably like maybe 2015, 2016 time frame. Also, what I've seen really is like some gun shops still price their military surplus collectibles at a really high astronomical price, like it'll sell. And I think there are some people that are buying again on Gunbroker. A lot of people are buying up military surplus on Gunbroker. It's the easiest way to find what they're looking for. If they're looking for a specific rifle or something, they just go to Gunbroker, or just go to some of these online websites. What about ammo for these military surplus collectibles? Well, I'm telling you, Steinel Ammo makes really good ammo for your military surplus rifles. They have a really good assortment of such. Georgia Arms, if you're looking for 30 carbine, I've bought off of Georgia Arms. 30 carbine, and they're pretty decent, and they're pretty decently priced as well. And when you look at something that I haven't bought yet, Casto's Curios, I haven't bought ammo from them, but I've seen their website and they seem like they do have a good balance of some military surplus rifle rounds and pistol rounds. So yeah, those are some of the ammo choices out there. Honestly, I've been able to find ammo for a lot of my military surplus rifles locally. There's a pawn shop that keeps in stock all these different military surplus rounds. It's about an hour drive or so, give or take, but hey, it's there. And if I want to go shoot on the weekend and I don't want to wait for shipping, or I don't want to pay for shipping either, I could just go there and get some ammo. Well, that's my perspective on things, guys. Overall, when you see the change coming, you want to adapt and overcome and set yourself up for success the best you can. Also, help me help people learn history and curate history. Check out the link in the description and get you some merch. Pulverize the like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Make it a great day.